Good news this week, guys, there is some reasonably hot sex in this episode of Outlander. Bad news, that sex does not happen between Jamie and Claire, and the circumstances begetting the sex are uncomfortable, at best. Most of the interesting stuff happens in 18th century England this week, so let me quickly summarize what is happening in 1968. Claire, Brianna, and Roger, the deceased Reverend Wakefield's son from season 2, work on finding Jamie in history now that Brianna knows her true parentage. They learn he was in prison until 1756 when the prison closed. After that, the trail goes cold. Brianna and Roger and Brianna and Claire grow closer as the three search various archives for more word of Jamie, but have little luck. After a particularly disappointing dead end in Edinburgh, Claire worries she is going to spend her life chasing a ghost, exactly as Mrs. Graham, Reverend Wakefield's housekeeper, cautioned against in season 2. Brianna doesn't want to give up, but Claire says it's time to go home, and she and Brianna head back to Boston. We're 4 episodes into the season, but this show is clearly going to carry out this grand tease a bit, or a lot, longer. Now to the good stuff. In 1756 England, Jamie is working as a groom at Hellwater, an English estate, in service of the Lord and Lady Louisa Dunsany and their daughters Geneva and Isabel. Because of his reputation as Red Jamie, Jamie is now going by the name Alex Mackenzie. There's always a twist or 3 to every plot in Outlander, and this episode is no different. Lord Dunsany tells Jamie to keep his involvement in the Jacobite rebellion to himself because he and Lady Dunsany lost their son, Gordon, in the war. The Lady Dunsany is still grieving and would not take well to knowing there was a Jacobite in her service. All things considered, life doesn't seem too bad at Hellwater. The name is a bit misleading, and as with last season, this show loves a good period costume, whether it's the British aristocracy or French nobles or Scottish Highlanders in their kilts. Visually, this episode is sumptuous, and the attention to detail is meticulous. We quickly learn that Geneva is what you might call a difficult woman, imperious, haughty, demanding. When she wants to go for a ride, the grooms always draw straws because they hate her so much. Geneva is promised in marriage to the Earl of Ellesmere, and after her betrothal, she insists Jamie accompany her on her next ride like a predator playing with its food. As they trot around the grounds, Geneva asks Jamie provocative questions and insists they ride further when Jamie wants to turn back, reminding him, "You have to do my bidding." Geneva rides ahead, leaving Jamie frustrated and following. Suddenly, Geneva shrieks and Jamie rides to her rescue, finding her passed out on the ground. After Jamie picks her up, Geneva starts giggling and says, "I knew you'd do as I told you." Jamie, none too pleased at being toyed with, dumps Geneva in the mud. She says, "I look forward to our next ride," which, of course, she does. Jamie is extremely attractive and uninterested in nonsense, which is a novelty to someone like Geneva, who has never had anyone stand up to her before. As he promised in the previous episode, Major John Grey visits Jamie, and the two play chess. Conveniently, Grey's brother, Lord Milton, happens to be perambulating with Geneva and Isabel, while Grey and Jamie are talking. Geneva quickly realizes there is more to Jamie's story, and not one to pass up an opportunity to make trouble. She later pays Jamie a visit in the stables as he is, literally and metaphorically, shoveling shit. Geneva is going to be married in 3 days, and she doesn't want her first time to be with the crusty, old-ass man she has been promised to. She orders Jamie to come to her bed and deflower her. Who can blame her?